As we head into the finale of RWBY Volume 9, things are looking a bit uncertain for a couple of our characters, but mainly Neopolitan. Her fate is largely unknown at this point in time, especially given that, well, she's been stated to have no remaining attachments to Remnant. It's very possible that the next episode, the last episode of Volume 9, may also be the last episode that we see Neo in the series. I do think that there is at least one likely way in which she can be saved, but given that she was left empty after fulfilling her revenge on RWBY and the cat was able to take over her body so easily, well, there's a high likelihood that she may either end up remaining in the Ever After or may end up dying along with the cat at the end of the volume. So that's what I want to discuss in this video, the emptiness that Neo is experiencing and how she may be able to recover from that, or what her fate might end up being by the end of Volume 9. As I mentioned, I do think there is a way in which Neo could likely be saved through the assistance of both Jean and RWBY, which is what I'm actually hoping for because Neo's story has been quite sad since she was reintroduced into the RWBY series as of Volume 6. She's been hellbent on revenge, being used by Cinder, and now used by the cat, and if this is the end of the line for Neo, then that's going to be, well, a pretty unfortunate end. But it is a likely possibility, given that she has no remaining attachments to Remnant. She has given up pretty much everything. Roman Torchwick was the one thing that was important to her. She used to live her life in dedication to Roman, and when Roman was gone, that was replaced with a deep desire for revenge, to get revenge on the person who she blamed for Roman's death, which was Ruby Rose. And now that that is fulfilled, Neo has been left empty. There is nothing left for her. Realistically, she should still have a grudge against Cinder, especially since when she first came to the Ever After, she transformed into both RWBY and then Cinder, showing that she has grudges against two individual people. But upon getting her revenge on RWBY, she felt that emptiness, that hole left in her heart now that the main thing she's been seeking is now gone, is now over with. So maybe she will need to be reminded of that other revenge that she still needs to get, and maybe that'll be the driving force forward. Though that'll still be Neo living her life for revenge, and I really do want a happier end for Neo's story, rather than either just living for revenge or ending up dying in the Ever After. Though I don't think it would actually be death that remains for Neo if she does decide to stay in the Ever After, given that, well, death doesn't really exist in the Ever After outside of the Jabberwocker. So unless the Jabberwocker shows up in the last episode and takes out Neo along with the cat, thus preventing either of them from ascending and removing them both from the cycle, which, you know, could be possible, though we haven't seen the Jabberwocker in a couple episodes, what would likely happen is that Neo might be ascended. But considering that she's empty, that she has no real attachments, no idea what to do, she'd be even more uncertain than RWBY is right now about what it is that she wants. Neo would just have no idea. She essentially became almost comatose after getting her revenge on RWBY. She shut down completely, and therefore she would have no desires upon ascending. But one possibility that might end up happening is that Neo ascends along with the cat, in a similar way to how RWBY ascended along with Little, and their ascension is likely going to be influencing one another in some way, shape, or form. Neo might actually ascend with the cat, and they might be combined into one being of sorts. This is another possibility, but it's also not one that I see as very likely. If that does end up happening, then the new being that would be created from Neo and the cat might then continue on in the Ever After and fulfill the purpose that the cat was supposed to fulfill before it became self-centered in its goal to try to get to Remnant, before its curiosity overtook it. Or perhaps they will each ascend on their own and have a little bit of influence on each other. Perhaps even just by the cat possessing Neo's body, that will have some influence on Neo. Jog her memory of something that she may have forgotten that would give her new purpose in the world, or perhaps just influence her purpose in general, which is kind of the cat's whole shtick. The cat was able to share portions of its heart with others to help them realize their own purpose, or just, you know, realize that they need to go to the tree. By possessing Neo's body, that might instill some sense of purpose in Neo and give her some motivation to move forward. And then through ascension, that will be fully realized in the newly reborn Neo. Or it's also a possibility that Neo just won't be ascended at all, and the cat and her will be separated, and Neo will return to Remnant with Team RWBY and Jean. That would only be possible, I think, through the influence, through the help of both RWBY and Jean, who would have already undergone their own ascensions. That when RWBY emerges from her ascension, and Jean, after being knocked off the tree, I have a feeling that he's going to ascend, or at least will ascend at some point throughout the finale of Volume 9 and be returned as his younger self with renewed purpose, given his acceptance of the overall cycle of the Ever After in the last episode, and then both RWBY and Jean will be able to help break the cat's hold on Neo. In a similar way to how Jean helped Penny break the hold of the virus, although temporarily. And I feel like that could have been hinting at that back in Volume 8 as to what's going to happen now. A foreign object was infecting Penny's body, that being the virus, and now there is a foreign entity within Neo's body as well, that being the cat. So if Jean is able to boost Neo's aura, boost Neo's soul, then Neo would have a chance to fight back against the cat and repel the cat from her body. But for that to happen, Neo would need some motivation to do so. And right now, she's an empty vessel. She has no motivation to really do anything at this point. And that is where RWBY comes in. Once she is ascended, once she figures out herself and realizes, well, whatever it is that she's going to realize, what her true purpose is, what she wants to do with her own life, then she may be able to reach out to Neo. Neo's focus has been on RWBY for so long at this point. And even though that focus was centered around revenge, centered on killing RWBY, it may be that due to that focus on RWBY, that it will be RWBY who can be the only one to actually reach out to her and kind of jog her memory, or at least make her realize that there is more that she can experience. I think it'll be a combination of RWBY and Jean, but at the very least, Jean will have to be involved due to his semblance and ability to boost Neo's aura. Maybe it will be just Jean in general that is able to reach out to Neo, something that I theorized before, that Jean could be a new person in Neo's life that gives her the support that she very desperately needs. Someone to accept her for who she is and also help guide her down the right path. Because Neo was drawn to Roman, a little bit due to his chaotic nature, but mainly due to him just accepting her for the way she is, not trying to change her in any way, shape, or form, and I think Jean would be the exact same type of person for Neo, but in a much more positive way. And for her to even start down that path, she would first need to be saved from the cat. They would need to be separated, and possibly Neo would come to some realization on her own, or perhaps she would need to undergo ascension as well. Possibly be reborn as Trivia Vanille. There's been a lot of theories that I've posted about Neo throughout this volume thus far, and, well, none of them involved Neo being possessed by the Curious Cat and seeing it unfold in this way. So heading into the finale, it really is a large question mark as to what is going to happen to Neo. Depending on what happens, there's a lot that's going to need to take place in this final episode. If Jean's going to ascend, if Neo's going to be saved, or end up ascending along with the cat, the ascension that she's going to end up going through, there's a lot that needs to happen, and I'm really curious to see how it's all going to unfold in the very last episode of RWBY Volume 9. And I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below on what you think Neo's overall fate is going to be at the end of this volume. Do you think she's going to be saved from the cat and be able to make it back to Remnant? I certainly hope she is, as I'm sure many others do as well, given that she's a fan favorite character, and we would love to see more of Neo in a much more positive light, not being used by anyone, and be able to actually discover herself, something that she hasn't really had the chance to in the last, 2 years or so. Now, there is, of course, the question of whether she can be redeemed or not, which, of course, is a valid question considering that Neo has certainly had a hand in killing many different people. Had a hand in the fall of Beacon and in the fall of Atlas. There is definitely blood on Neo's hands. No one's arguing that. However, if she does truly have a change of heart, and that can be seen by Team RWBY and Jean, I think it is possible for her to be accepted as an ally, or at least not an enemy anymore. Because in Remnant, there's Salem. if there's someone willing to fight alongside you against Salem, I think most people in the world would be much more forgiving of past transgressions in efforts of having more help to fight the larger enemy. And then after that enemy is defeated, that's when you can go back and see if the person has fully made up for their past transgressions, or if they still need to do more to make up for it. And there's also the question that if Neo is ascended, what if her memories are taken? What if all of the memories of all of the bad things that she did are removed? What if she is literally reborn as Trivia with the exact same mentality she had before she had that split between Neo and Trivia? Because if all of those memories are removed, if she no longer is the person who committed all of those crimes, then, well, holding her accountable for all of them may not exactly be fair. It brings up a whole question of, like, morality and, you know, responsibility for your past transgressions, even if you don't remember them. But, again, in Remnant, if she no longer remembers her crimes, is not that same person anymore, literally through magic, through the tree, her memories are permanently gone or something like that, then I do think it's easily possible that she would be redeemed, forgiven, and accepted as an ally. But ultimately, we will just have to wait and see. And I'd love to hear your opinions on it as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, got you thinking a bit more about Volume 9 as we head into the finale, make sure to subscribe and join the Guild of the Eternal Flame. There's going to be plenty more videos coming after the finale of Volume 9 as well, so a lot more to look forward to. If you're fans of the series No Game, No Life, make sure to check out my second channel, The Daily Flugel. And if you want to see some games played live, make sure to check out the link in the description below and follow my Twitch channel. I stream every Tuesday and Saturday, which will be continuing on well past the finale of Volume 9, so we can continue to discuss RWBY for a long time to come. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.